Good evening. I'm Gloria, eating a sweetie because of hay fever. And this is Open Minds live chat show on Sunday night, 7 p.m. UK time. Excuse me. And I have a returning guest. It's part two of the one and only lovely Dr. Rita Louise. Welcome back.
Hi, Gloria. Hi, all listeners. It is so much fun to be here with you. We always have such great conversations.
Oh, and we are going to have another one. God, these sweet is tangy. Oh, God, gone a bit sour. Apologize. Let's just be normal, all right? Well, that's not going to happen, is it? No, it's not going to happen. As you know, I had you were recently. What first, if I do that, could you give to anyone who's going to watch live or watch on the replay? Because in the UK we're in a heat wave at the moment. They're more likely sitting in an ice cold bath somewhere. A brief bio of who you are, and especially the documentary you're appearing in with Bill Bennett soon.
Sure. So I'm a naturopathic physician and a medical intuitive, which means that I help people using my intuition work through health-related issues, personal issues, professional issues, medical issues, but I also am a pretty consummate researcher. And so people that look at my work, they make the comment that I'm all over the place. I've written books on ancient aliens and books on ghosts and books on health and healing from a metaphysical perspective and a book on narcissism and, created these videos. And so they're kind of all over the place, but it's the thrill of the pursuit of learning the information and then going, wow, now I know all of this stuff and now I'm going to share it with you.
Yeah.
So
I think I said it last time. You're like me, a jack of all trades, but master of none. Because you follow that interest and you go and learn it all, then you go to the next one.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. How many books have you written?
6 books.
Wow.
6 books, 2 feature-length documentaries, and like 30 video shorts.
Wow. And I got to add this one because I was going to say, the wonderful Mr. Bill Bennett on the live show the other day. And you're in his most recent one. Tell us about that.
So it's a movie about fear. So I originally met Bill when he was doing his last movie, PGS, Intuition, Your Personal Guidance System.
Yeah.
And I have to share this story with you, Gloria. So I get this very random email from this guy making a movie in Dallas and wants to know if I'll come meet him at a hotel to film.
He did that.
He did that.
Wow.
And I went and met his wonderful wife, Jennifer, and, they filmed me there, and I'm in that film with luminaries, James Van Praagh and Carolyn Mace and Judith Orloff and all of these, like, big names, and me. It's so exciting.
But, hold on. I hate hay fever. But in the documentary that's being released later in the year, Fear, isn't Dr. Joe Dispenza in this one as well?
I don't know.
All
I know is that they interviewed my now ex, and there's part of me that's like, well, I hope they just take his part out. So then when I see the film, I don't have to look at him.
You're naughty. Stop it. You're naughty. But that sweet's gone now. Not that it's helped my throat in any way. I nearly choked, by the way, there. I mean, you've been active in many fields and researched many things. So it's a bit like I said, master of all trades, jack of all trades, master of none, just like me. It's the interest, and you go and learn, and have you found through doing that? Because I have, I can have, for example, I'll have a guest on who's got a specific field, and I can have a conversation with them because I've gone and done the research maybe 10 years ago. Does that work with you when you have a conversation, or you're working with a client, but you've got some information already there because of what you did before?
Oh, very much so. Or just, even surfing in the internet and just kind of keeping up on different things and people's commentaries about, different ideas kind of keeps you current, so that if somebody wants to kind of go down some path, you have something to say.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. Now, tonight, me and you, part 2, we've got something to say, and we've only decided what to talk about 2 minutes before we went live. And because we were just talking with each other going, and I mentioned so much, I said, something is going on. And you went, yeah. So let's start that conversation again. You said it to me before we went live, and I said it to you, but I've been saying it in my groups and on my shows. It's let everything go, let it come. You're in a tornado, stay in the still place, 0. You'll give your interpretation in a sec, and just let it flow, let it flow, let it go, stay in that space, 0 point. And you say, very similar, you say,
I call it holding space.
Same thing, just different way of it. Holding space as shit hits the fan, let's say.
But you know, one of the places where I kind of come into that whole narrative is there are so many people, and I think this is really important for your listeners to hear. There are so many people that are affected by what's going on the planet. You know, so whether it's happening in their personal life or it's just what's going on, like, you know, regardless of where your position was on COVID, for example, there was so much fear in people that even if you weren't personally scared, you were resonating. You know, we're vibrational beings, and so we resonate with whatever the prevailing thought energy is out there. And so there we go through these cycles. I mean, I'm sure you're aware of them too, where it's like, oh, I feel like a normal human being, and then the next week it's like you have all this anxiety and you're not sleeping well, and you know, and then you turn the news on, God forbid, and you find out there's all this weird crap going on.
There is a correlation, you know, and however, we're going to go with this conversation. Good evening, Rosie. Rosie's my friend.
Hi, Rosie.
Dr. Rita says, hi, Rosie. She's a love bug too. This time when I was saying to you, I mean, as you know, I don't watch the news. I don't do anything. Let's kick this off. How I've been saying for a while, something's just about to hit us, okay? Didn't know what it was. No negative, no positive. I could feel something manifesting. And then like the quickening was getting quicker. And the synchronicities and all the paranormal going on, multidimensional beings, everyone's, all of this. And I said, no, there's something else. And then I think it was last week. I don't know when it was. And I was in my garden and I happened to speak to one of the neighbors. And she turned around and said to me, well, since Boris resigned, which is the UK's Prime Minister, I went, what? When did that happen? Did I miss something? What? When? What? When? I didn't know that because I don't watch the news. I don't get involved in anything like that. And and apparently, you know, most of the government went with him. And then I spoke to someone else. Said, where have I been? It was Brandon Thomas, actually. I was talking to him. I said, I don't know where I've been. I must be in Netherlands. He said, did you know the same time he resigned, and he's part of his government, that was exactly the same time CERN switched on. And then he rolled off all the other things that has happened. So then I start to say, ooh, there's something going on. I'll add my other bit in a minute. So you've been experiencing similar too, because you are obviously a psychic medium as well. So we do pick up things externally. Yeah, go on.
Yeah. And you know, that is kind of weird. Like every so often I will literally go to other people, you know, like I was getting a coffee the other day at Starbucks or whatever, and I'm friendly with the people behind the counter, and I'm like, have you been like in a really weird space the last few days? You know, because it's like, because either I'm really cranky, which I was really cranky, which is not normal for me, or there's something going on and I'm picking it up and it's manifesting in me as cranky.
Yeah.
So the women there were like, no, everything's good. Then I went back the next day and they were like, oh my God. And that was, there's just been a lot politically happening. We had in the United States the overturn of Roe versus Wade, and then the Georgia Guidestones went down, and Boris Johnson and CERN, and the Japanese prime minister, and there's coincidences, and then there's right where my little conspiracy theory mind goes.
All in a week. What happened to
it wasn't even like a week. It was like in the course of 4, maybe 5 days. It was just back to back.
It was back to back. I'm aware of when they said they turned CERN back on, but it could have been on since the last time. We don't know. But that was exactly the same time that the Prime Minister of the UK resigned with a lot of his men. And there was, when did the Japanese, who was it?
It was like the next day or 2 days later.
Yeah.
Because I think Roe versus Wade was Thursday. I think the Georgia Guidestones were Friday. And see, the only reason I know this is I go to the gym and they have the big TV screens. And so they have CNN on and Fox. And so I just read the little subheadings. And that's how I keep up on the news. And I think it was that Monday that the Japanese, he was the former prime minister and had been the prime minister for a really long time. And he was very beloved and he was very conservative. He was assassinated.
Wow.
It was like,
and then you had your Georgia Stones blown up at the same time as CERN going on. We can start conspiracy, but no, what I'm looking at, each one of them events on its own would have been major news, on its own.
Correct.
It would, and that's looking at it. But then this all come in a few days, and as I said, because I don't put my attention on the news or what's going on, I started to resonate something, and then I'm going to add my bit to this, and then I think it was yesterday morning. When I get up in the UK, I always check out the American podcasts. So you're all sleeping while I'm getting up, drinking copious amounts of coffee to wake up. And something come up, and I went and watched it, and they said, I'm really shocked. This podcaster said, I'm really shocked that this CIA officer, I think his name's Lou Elizondo or something. I remember him before in your country with the UFO hearings, and I remember hearing about him before, and that he'd made this short video of 6 minutes and something. And I went, with all the other things going on, I don't normally listen to him at all, because he is, as he calls himself, he's a CIA operative. So there you go. I thought, no, I got to listen. And I listened to this video, 6.5 minutes. And I checked on his wall. At that time, it was on his wall. I didn't see it later on his wall. However, another person captured it and put it on their channel, so it's there to watch. And in this, he says, I'm a CIA, whatever, specials operative, whatever, and he was mimicking the film Armageddon. There's a script in Armageddon where the president of the United States says, I come here not as your president, I come here as your brother, And I did like that film, by the way. Anyway, and it's sort of, and he was speaking to the Brazilian people and the Brazilian government about UFOs and how we need to get together. I'm paraphrasing now. And, how the effect on them on our nuclear missiles. And I thought, there's got to be a false flag somewhere in there. All the things I've been feeling with all the other things that had happened. And then he goes and does this. Well, I don't know how your so-called democracy works there, but I thought, why one would America, who's go to Brazil, But wouldn't it be someone in your Congress or your president? And why would you ask him to join you in the UFO debate? And it was so, what's the word? Nonsensical to me. Yeah, didn't make sense that this man would do this.
It just makes me wonder if he is retired and not a official representative of whatever level of the government, and that's just his background credentials, and has come forward as a private citizen, then he can do that, but Brazil has had mass sightings for years.
Yeah, well, we all know. Yeah, this is another thing. We know it's a hot spot. Yeah, but I'll send you the clip so you can watch it. So, but was it last year in your country? He was at your congressional hearings. He was on coast to coast. He was out everywhere talking about when he worked in the secret project for the USA government, and they were detecting UFOs. All of that. He was out there on every TV. He was everywhere, and that's how I became aware of him. And I listened to him, and I thought, well, I'm an experiencer. I don't need disclosure, so I don't watch no more. I mean, someone else doesn't have to tell me ETs are real, because to me they're real because I experience them. But that was another one on top. So to me, all these major events on their own, but it's like they're being clustered together, so you don't put your attention on one thing. Normally they keep you distracted from something. Something's going on in the background. That's a sense that there's something just shit's about to hit the fan somewhere. How do you feel about that?
And the feeling that I got out of all of that was that there's like a chess game going on.
Yes.
Roe versus Wade got overturned. I don't care what your opinion is on it, but it got overturned. So that was one move.
I don't know what you're talking about. That's America. Is it a big thing?
So Roe versus Wade was the Supreme Court stated that women had the right to choose abortion.
Yeah.
Okay, so it got overturned because the Supreme Court can't create law, and so that was why it was overturned, because it didn't come through as a federal law. It just came through as a decision that has been held up. And so they said, it wasn't right for the Supreme Court to make this decision. It needs to go back to the states, and the states can decide for themselves whether they want to allow abortion or not. And if they want to make abortion a federal law, then they need to make it a federal law and not just a Supreme Court decision.
Yeah, right.
Big hubbub. But people know who women are. They know that those women aren't getting their choice, and men can't have babies.
Yeah, right. So now I understand the gravity of that. Okay. Yeah, go on.
Yeah, so so that was huge. But then like the Georgia Guidestones and CERN, and it just seemed like, okay, well, I'm going to move this piece. And then, wait, you're going to do that? All right, I'm going to move this piece, and wait, you're going to do this? All right, I'm going to move. And I just am like, okay, so what's the next move?
Yeah. It's like, we've all known for decades, from all the projects and whatever, that, the planning of a force invasion, and building up for that. And we all know that a lot of this, there are UFOs is to get more money. Yeah. But the experiencers know these ETs are with us now. We all knew that, but it seems something, what resonates with me, I'm not saying it's the truth. Me and you are speculating. We're having a conversation because we're trying to suss out. And, there's a couple of mediums in the audience as well. Christine's a medium, so is Rosie. Is picking up. It feels like, this counteraction to spirit. Does that make sense to you? The spiritualization, because I called it, what we're going through is the spiritualization of the physical body. And you need to bring a fear-based narrative to keep people in fear, to block the healing of going into the spiritualization in the physical. Does that resonate with you at all?
That's totally right. Actually, I've been talking about that fairly recently myself. You know, the word that I've heard applied to it and that I like is contrast. You know, you can't decide, I don't want this unless there's contrast. You know, so if you, you know, I'm going to say like pedophilia, you know, like, I don't like pedophilia. I think that it's, you know, inherently wrong, you know, but unless it's kind of put in your face that there's an issue with it, you can't really say, this is who I am and this is what I value. And so it really is causing people to take a step back and look inside and go, well, this is really what I want and this is what I value, you know, and then that lets you hold space because this is what I believe in. This is me. And I feel like there's a lot of things that are being, I'm going to say, exposed, brought to the light that people really aren't liking it. You know, the whole Agenda 2020, Agenda 2030, you know, it's like people never heard of it. I heard of it years ago.
Same here. And many others know. Many others have heard about, knew it was coming. I mean, we don't know how because obviously it's in flux. Anything could change at any point, but it's there. It's there still. And I'm in total agreement. And I would say the last sort of event that, you know, that was brought upon us, I think it backfired for their intention in whatever it was, because people started to go into 0.0 to their space, holding their space. And people, for the first time ever, went, I have a choice. And even if they were harassed, and many were harassed, either side, it doesn't matter, they held their space. They held their space, no matter which, and I'm not going to go into right or wrong. But
No, I appreciate
they started to hold their space. And they have done ever since. I don't know what it's like in the USA, but here in the UK, it's just like, fuck it, we're moving on. Live with it. We're living with it. We're gone. And you couldn't do it again. You could not do it again in the UK. There's no way you could do it again. Because people, you know, logic comes in, well, we'll live with it. We'll live with it. We'll live with it like we do everything else.
There has been rumors of, you know, because COVID is kind of back again, and you know, of them.
Powers of be say it's back. I agree.
You know, that there is talk about locking down possibly California and New York. You know, the two biggest lockdown states in the United States. You know, and I live in Texas, and it's like, well, that ain't ever happening here again.
Well, no, I mean, you've got to look is where does all these narratives come from? Okay, I mean, you know, I mean, for example, my parents told me a lot of things, and they were lies. But and my teachers in school 200 years ago told me a lot of things that I had to abide and comply to, but they were lies. They were not true. They were not true. And contemporary education will say, no, that's not true. We don't believe that anymore. Do you see? So who's giving the narrative? So I think what's happened, that is a major part. What's happened over, say, the last few years is people are questioning who's giving the narrative. Who's saying this is black, this is white? By the way, I have a choice. It doesn't resonate with me. So with all that's gone on.
But that's also finding that zero space of going, no, that doesn't resonate with me
anymore. And I'm not even bothered. I really don't care. It's just really not on my agenda. I also, another major thing that's really come out is that what we label the law of attraction. People are now going, all these synchronicities, and they're attracting, and I've let that go. They don't resonate. It's the words I'm hearing. And, well, why would I go for another narrative? And people realize they have a choice. Like you, Dr. Rita Louise, you're a medical intuitive. I don't think I'll go to a GP. I think I'm going to this healer. because it resonates with me. So much has changed in pharmacy, in the medical system, in educational system. I mean, employment system, and every other. It's like all the structures have been crumbling. They're crumbling, and it's like, well, the chess game is over. It's already checkmate, but they're still playing their role. The last 7 or 8 moves left, while the audience watches on, and like they're throwing every single thing to distract us. I mean, what did we have straight after we were all locked up? We had a war. I didn't put my attention on the war at all, and I thought something's going to come, and it's going to come boom, 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 boom. It won't be one, because they need to pull you here. And then, as you said, it was about 5 days. I could not believe all of that. And each one would have been a major worldwide breaking news event. And it all happened with it. And I'm sure there's a lot more.
Unless they don't really want to dig into what the reality was below it. So, for example, you know, the Georgia Guidestones, right, wrong, or indifferent, you know, whatever. And one of the legs, so if people are familiar with it, you should definitely look it up if you watch this show. But it had 4 pillars with a plate on top. And one of the pillars got blown up, and so it had fallen down. And they determined that it was not structurally safe. So the next day, that whole thing was gone. They took the entire thing on. And so people are like, well, what about the investigation? Aren't they going to try to figure out who did this and look for any evidence or anything?
And what did they say?
Well, they're not saying anything. It just became a non-issue. You know, it's like, I mean, I don't know how the press is about the whole Boris Johnson thing, but from what I understand, that was kind of some nasty stuff going on behind the scenes.
Yeah, I mean, you know, the only time I saw any feedback from it is when I went on my phone for the weather to find out about our heat wave here. And then you'd see something come up. That's a normal, evil, nasty, judging, backstabbing, slandering. For the rest, I don't know, whoever watches the news in the UK must be so entertained they won't be seeing what's actually going on around them. But yeah, it's a big thing. Not that it is for me, but for some it is a big thing, I presume. Well, it is for the media. The media are doing it. Remember, that's state controlled even here.
Well, you know, and it was during the Obama administration. I posted this law or repeal of the law or whatever it was, that apparently there was a law in the United States that said the media could not do propaganda to American citizens. It was against the law. There was actually a law, and Obama repealed the law.
Did he?
Yeah. And I'm like, well, no wonder why we have this mass media narrative where, you know, you see videos where they'll take 10 or 12 different news stations and play like blah, 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 weapons of mass destruction, blah, 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 you know, and they're all in harmony saying the exact same words all together. Like, you know, here's your script and just read this and you know.
Well, I do know, I mean, I don't know about America, but I do know in this country, the mainstream media, the BBC and all of them are losing all their ratings. People are hitting alternative news on podcasts because they know they're all scripted, saying, because it's state controlled. You can only say what you're allowed to say. So, and I think it's another aspect. People have become aware of this as well. What's really going on? I mean, for me, if you look at all the things that, I mean, this last one with that video, you know, you got this guy appealing to the Brazilian people and sort of saying about, you know, UFOs are real. Yeah, we all know that. And about, you know, the nuclear weapons. I can't recall verbatim what he actually said. But yeah, everyone knows that way back in the day, they shut down the UFO because the UFO shut down nuclear reactors because we were just about to go and kill again. You know, millions of people, which all humans tend to do is kill. It's kill and mutilate and for profit. So Everyone knows all that. So, but seemed like, well, he's a prominent figure in your country. So it seems, and he was rubbing shoulders of all the top shows in America when it all come out before, and they said he didn't work there. Now he works there, and all this bollocks. And I didn't, it just didn't resonate with me what he was saying, because I'm an experiencer, so I'm not interested in anyone's belief system. But to do this, I thought, and after CERN, after Boris, I knew about the stones coming down. I didn't know the whole story. I'd heard about overruling a law, but I didn't know what it was about. I'd heard it in brief. And I thought, it's too much, too quick. They're firing one after the other at us, which means it's to distract us, our attention from something.
From something else. Well, in the United States, I don't know if it got any coverage in the UK. We had the Brad Pitt trial going on about domestic violence. That was on TV, and people were following it every day. And at the same time, like 30 food processing plants caught fire, blew up, had major issues with them.
While the people were watching Brad Pitt. Do you know what? I got to add something to you, though. When before I found out about this video the other day, I was going on to my StreamYard to do my shows. And when it came on, I had a big red sign. You cannot. I didn't know about this Lou guy done it. I'm sorry, but you cannot broadcast to Brazil. And I went, what? A big red thing on here. And I went, I don't have a Brazilian guest, so it's okay. And I went on with my show. And then that was before I saw this video. So it must have come. So it would have come out exactly. Yeah, the timing's perfect. Then I went back on because I was really had loads of shows on. Went back the next one. A big red sign. You cannot broadcast in Brazil, something like that. And then it was written in Brazilian as well, Spanish, the same too. I went, why is this on here? I haven't got no Brazilian guest. Okay. And then I saw the video and he directed it at Brazil. That made me very suspicious. So if it was no big deal that he'd done that, why would it be that I was denied access to broadcast to Brazil?
Well, there is the ongoing joke, if you post something on Facebook or YouTube or one of those things and they take you down or flag you or fact check you or something, it means that you must be getting pretty close.
Well, I never knew about this Lou guy until 2 days after that happened, saying I never knew about it. It wasn't in my conscience. I had no idea. I found it synchronistically by accident.
Mm-hmm.
So that is another one that really pushed me. Well, if it's not important what he's done, and it is just him trying to big himself up, for no reason, why would that come on my StreamYard? So that really did it. And I thought, okay, so that leads us into the segue where we want to go into with all that's going on. And I'm sure there's a lot more I didn't know about your food processing plants all catching fire. Mm-hmm. I didn't know.
The only place you heard about it was, people would post graphics on Facebook because there really weren't articles particularly, or they just seemed, not really connected and not really related.
Did they give a reason why all these food processing plants burned down?
They didn't occur all in one day. It was like there's one on March 3rd in Indiana, and then there, on March 24th in Arizona, a different one. So they seem very unrelated.
Yes.
But taken as a whole, there were literally like 30 of them that went down in a 3 to 4 month period.
So has that affected your food supply?
It's hard to tell. I mean, I don't eat processed food, so, I mean, I would assume so, but then they had this baby formula shortage. I don't know if you have a baby formula shortage, where they're importing baby formula because there was some contamination found. So Abbott is a big pharmaceutical company, and they apparently make like 40% of the baby formula. And so there was some kind of contamination found in the baby formula. So the FDA came in and shut the plant down. Well, that's fine. Shut the plant down so that they can go in and clean it up and retool it or do whatever they need to do. But they never turned it back online until now mothers can't get baby formula.
Yeah, I mean, as I said before, any one of these single events on their own would be major news, and people would say, come on, you've got to, or someone would say, well, if you've got all these food processing plants catching fire,
or exploding, mystery explosions,
one after the other, do we have an arsonist? Is somebody doing? But when you don't even get an investigation, and like you said with your stones out there, you don't even get an investigation, then it doesn't need to be a conspiracy theorist. One needs to say, there's shit going on somewhere. There's obviously something going on. I mean, if you was a detective, I mean, my background is criminology, and I would start deconstructing everything and looking at it as a bigger picture. So, well, something's definitely going on, because that's how my brain functions when I'm left brain. Something's afoot. And as I said, when I had that warning about Brazil on StreamYard, then 2 days later I see that video, and when I worked out the dates, that was released exactly when I got that on my warning on my thing. Well, is he that important? What? So yeah, it's a case of, and they're more likely will. And I didn't know about the Japanese ex-prime minister. I had no idea. I knew about Donald Trump's first wife apparently fell down the stairs. I knew about that. That come up when you go look for your weather. Everything's just all doom and gloom if you go on your internet just to look at the weather. It's just got all this doom and gloom up there. So all right, so we've covered quite a lot, and I'm sure there's much more we haven't covered. I must say, here in the UK, it's, apart from Boris, there's not much no one's saying anything about anything. It's just, we're going on as normal, and we're living with it, and it's just moving forward. Apart from prices of petrol here, I find I got to add this one in. They say about, the reason because the petrol's gone up is because of the war, and this country imports its petrol from Saudi Arabia, the majority, not Russia. Not that side of it. It's not. Its major is, and the Arabs have said we got ample, so we know there's petroleum. And
the United States was energy independent and was exporting natural gas and oil and some other stuff. Exporting. And then that all went away.
Yeah.
And the rationale, which I don't know, it's like we don't have oil because of the war in Ukraine.
Yeah.
Now, what does the war in Ukraine have to do with oil? What does it have to do with food production? They don't produce oil or gas. They don't produce food.
No.
So
it's like that, and you just look at bits of the puzzle, and it's like a very desperate attempt to throw everything at us, because I do believe it's a spiritualization of the physical being. That's my truth. And as I said, there will be a hell of a lot more that we don't know about, because we don't watch, the disinformation. However, we've come to the point now, something's afoot, and it's obvious. It's like, it feels like we've been waiting this forever, and it's now, and it's been now for a couple of months, but it's definitely now, because they are hitting everywhere. It's all being deconstructed. We both agree that we should.
A lot of it's being revealed, where before it was in the background and land of the conspiracy theorists.
Yeah.
And now it's kind of like people are going, oh, well, blah, blah, blah. And it's like, oh, so when I said that 3 years ago, I was a conspiracy theorist. I have friends, you'll appreciate this. I have friends that are like in California and whatever, and they are now taking pictures of the sky because there are no chemtrails.
Yeah.
It's like, look, clear blue skies. This is how it looked pretty much last week. And now, like, no chemtrails over Mount Shasta. Apparently, it's been years since there were no chemtrails over Mount Shasta.
I want to tell you something. I used to, in this country, a good few years ago, constantly look up and just see chemtrails. That's all I would ever see. You'd recognize them, okay? And they would say, oh, this is just this, and this is that. And it was a couple of weeks ago, and every time I looked up, I haven't seen in my area of the UK, I have not seen chemtrails. I've got to say.
It's been recent that apparently they've stopped or slowed down or whatever they did. Yeah.
So there are things like that in the environment that I have noticed that myself, and I never mentioned it to anyone, but I would say it's been a while since I've seen them, because at one point you'd step outside and it was zigzagged. Mm-hmm. First thing in the morning, it was zigzagged, and we don't get very clear skies. We do get them in the UK, but when you've got a clear blue sky and you can see them just trailing. Or you see the planes, actually. But yeah, so that's another one. So things are changing. I mean, I will say what has been hidden will be revealed, which means the corruption, it's like the narrative. Someone tells you got to do something and you find out that they've lied and they've been lying to you, so you never follow their instructions again, if that makes sense. Mm-hmm. Yeah? You find out they're either corrupted in some way, so you don't follow. So I'm not saying all of this is a bad thing. I'm seeing it as a good thing, because it's pushed us to a point where we are going into point zero, into that space, and it's pushing each one of us there where we should be. And so for me, what is happening is positive, because
I agree.
Do you agree? We wouldn't go in, Rita. We wouldn't go in if there wasn't shit out there going boom, 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 boom. Would we? We wouldn't do it.
Well, but I also think, and I'm going to blame it on COVID because I got nothing else to use.
Yeah.
People's internal space was just thrown around and shaken up and think this, no, think this, think this, think this. And people are like, no, I don't want to do that anymore. So I'm just going to stand here and stand still and decide for myself.
Yeah.
Instead of being this rag doll, being thrown and manipulated everywhere. I think bottom line, that's the part people are the tiredest of.
Yes.
Is not knowing what reality is. It's like, well, then I'm just going to create my own reality, and I'm just going to work on making me happy.
That's exactly it, Rita. People are saying that. I'm not doing that no more. I'm creating my reality. I'm focusing on what makes me happy, what I enjoy. I mean, I've never had the TV on, but even more are just switching off that TV. They're just focusing on what they've gone in, because they've had enough being pulled about like a rag doll. On the back of that, it's got to be asked then, because this is done all around the world now. I mean, come on, the whole world is
weird to me. How it is so weird to me. All right, this is a little commentary. How all of this is being orchestrated around the world. In the United States, people are pretty United States centric. It's like, oh, well, this is going on in the United States. It's like, no, it's going on everywhere.
Everywhere. It's global. It's universal, should I say.
And then it makes you go, okay, so who's pulling those strings? I can understand if you have one country or one region having an issue. We cut gas production in the United States, and so now we're out begging for gas and oil from foreign countries. Now, I can see where our gas prices would go up. That would only make sense to me.
Yeah.
Why are your gas prices going up? You know what I mean? Why are they going up somewhere else? It doesn't have anything to do with our gas production here.
No, nothing at all. Nothing to do. And we do have our own petroleum as well. Nothing at all. Mm-hmm. What goes on in the Ukraine does not affect the UK at all. At all. Okay? And if Lou Elizondo, whatever he's called, does this thing about UFOs to the Brazilian people. Why is it affecting my broadcasting in the UK? Why? You see? So it's like, oh shit, they're throwing their toys out the pram, because to me it's done. It's over. I don't focus, or I don't feed or perpetuate the fear that they have. And to me, it's a really good sign. And all of that's happening. And because the people, I agree with you, there were billions on this planet to their back teeth of being told what to do and not to do. And they've gone in and they've just gone, I'm not doing it no more. You know?
Well, especially when they say, okay, well, if you do this, this is going to be the positive benefit.
Yeah.
But so then it's kind of like, okay, you give them the benefit of the doubt and you do it, but
that is not a positive.
It's not a positive benefit, and it turns out that really wasn't true.
It wasn't true.
You know? So why should I do what you're saying when it wasn't true?
Yeah. I mean, I don't get into politics or religious scripture, but the fact is, in this country, we don't have. I'm still surprised in America that you have laws to stop abortions. I'm not saying I agree or disagree. I'm saying I would say it's the individual, personal, autonomous choice. Yeah, it's their choice. It's their body. It's their life. It's their choice. And we don't have that here in the UK. You know, if people choose to do that, that's their free choice. If they choose not to, that's their free choice. I'm shocked to hear that still in 2022, you still have a draconian Catholic law.
And I have to tell you, there are a lot of people that really support the pro-choice platform. I mean, that's not my personal choice. You know, where I kind of draw the line, and I don't know what the regulations are there, is there are some states in the United States where you can have an abortion up until the time of birth, like 40 weeks.
There is I don't know the weeks, but there is something like 24 or 23 or something like that. There is a cutoff. I was asking you, is your country a Catholic country?
It was based on Christian principles and Christian values. So
see, UK labels.
So not Catholic, but Christian.
This country is not Catholic. It's C of E, Church of England, which is just basic Christian doctrine. Catholicism is the one that is works. You can't have an abortion, or you can't remarry. So I just wondered, what's your country? I just wondered, because it is
fundamentally much more Christian than it is Catholic. You know, so
women that choose to do this, it's their personal choice. Whether I agree or disagree, it's none of my fucking business. It's their life. They're living it. It's what they have to go through. They have their reasons. It's just nothing to do with me. My medical condition has nothing to do with anyone else. So, and I thought we'd gone past the days where women had to fight for the right to be accepted on equal terms. A right to decide what happens to their body.
Well, there seems like in this day and age that there's really kind of a full frontal attack against women. I don't know if it's globally, but in the United States, I mean, there's the abortion thing, but then there's all the issues with transgendered women competing in women's sports.
I heard something today, actually. I'm shocked. I'm shocked. No, we don't have that here. Not to my knowledge anyway, nothing major. I'm not against either. I remember when I used to travel a lot and going towards North Africa and that. And I remember the first time I experienced shared toilets on my journey, like the heat wave journey. And men and women would walk in and out. I really wasn't bothered. That doesn't bother me. So I'm very neutral on a lot of things. But I did hear something today. I go, oh my God, is that what's going on in America? There's been things about America in the past, like there, superpower, and all that. And then I'm hearing all this stuff that doesn't relate to a superpower. I'm hearing, what? I never, what is hidden will be revealed. I never knew what was going on in your country. I never knew. I mean, I didn't know what was going on in my country to the last couple of years.
Well, I mean, I think that Americans are a lot more modest, moderately modest than Europeans. I think if restrooms had all stalls, that it would be one thing. But the stories come out, it's like transgendered men, women, whatever, are going into women's locker rooms and using them, which is one thing, but they still have male genitalia and they're just wandering around with their junk hanging out, and women don't want to see it.
No, I wouldn't. I wouldn't. I mean, it was shared toilets in France, but there was nothing like that. It was toilets, cubicles, all normal. There was no urinals now. But no, I wouldn't want that. And how do you know that this person is not really just pretending to be a transgender? And
there have to be some issues of that happening, and they're using it as a way to get into protected spaces to do illicit sexual acts.
Yeah.
I mean, there haven't been a whole lot of cases, but there have been cases.
Yeah. I mean, who would have thought in 2022, after what we've all just experienced, that this would be a main part of contention in the world? But there again, this was brought to bring distraction to everyone, right? So let's go and talk about that. The Ukraine stuff failed with the world. No one, we were all pissed off with what had just happened. The attention didn't even go there. So, now you've got your transgender, you've got your abortion laws, you've had all your plants sort of blown up, catch fire, food plants, your Georgia Stones. I mean, then you've got this guy doing this video, and so you could think, well, they keep throwing something.
Well, and it's always very interesting. So, we had.
Hold on. Rosie says, thank you, Rosie. Rosie said in this country, it's 23 weeks is the limit for cutoff for abortion in this country. Yeah.
We had COVID, but then we had the backlog of shipping containers going into California and being off. So that was huge news for a really long time. But one of the things that they didn't say was that California has some of the toughest environmental standards. So a lot of the trucks that normally would have gone into the ports and shipped stuff out were now banned from going into the ports because they didn't meet this certain standard, because they did it to themselves. But then something else happened, and now apparently, which nobody knows, everything's getting through that port, because we haven't heard one story about an issue from that port, and then it moves on to something else. And then, everybody has to get the vaccine until Ukraine got attacked, and then COVID went away. Boom.
I know. Yeah, it disappeared, and I get that.
But people need to pay attention to that part. If it was so important that they had to jam it down your throat 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and there's a squirrel over there that's sparkly, it's like this thing that was so important didn't go away unless it wasn't really important in the first place.
Yeah. And then we had another big one which everyone ignored, which was Ukraine. That didn't work. And then obviously ever since then, it's been one after the other, where they're distracting, the masses to look at something. And the masses are not doing it. They're going inward. They're going into that space. They're going into 0 point because they've had enough. Enough is enough is enough. In fact, there's no going back to normal. That wasn't normal. That was gaslighting. That was, the Stockholm syndrome. And it's all being deconstructed now. And
wait. I got to say something. So I was doing an interview with David Zubloff on Dark Outpost Radio. We were having a similar kind of conversation, about people and their moral compass.
Yes.
And how there's so many people that come from ego, or they're just like being sheep or whatever.
Yeah.
But when you get to that 0 point, when you go inside and hold space, it connects you with source. It connects you with God, and it connects you with spirit. And if you really want to know what truth is, or your truth is, and if you want to come from a place of love and gratitude and kindness and healing for everything, that's where you need to be. And that's where people are going. And so whether they realize it or not, it's like they are moving into a healing space for themselves and everyone else on the planet.
I'm in total agreement, because as you said, whether they know it or not, I mean, many of us know what we're doing, but many just go, I've had enough. And once you experience source, once you just touch a teeny bit of peace and joy, and it's, and then you do it again. I'm not listening no more, turn the TV off, or you play with your kids, or, you're in a relationship, or, or you go in your garden, and there's no one saying, do this, do that. And they find this space. This is why I'm saying what's happened has been a blessing to humanity. And they're going, I'm just not doing that now. So they wouldn't even say they're spiritual. And many don't believe in ET. It doesn't matter what your truth is. They go, I'm not doing that now. Nah. I like what I found here. Boom. And then it's gone. So I'm in total agreement, but that wouldn't have happened if the past events hadn't happened. However, the most recent events, one after the other, like, is it desperation? Is something just about to occur? Someone was saying the other day, they were saying, here's asteroid end of the world. And I'm going, what? Yes, bring it on. Why would I fear it? Tell me why. We're all going to die. As
long as I have, about 20 minutes so I can do my hair and makeup and I can leave a good corpse. I'm good.
No, I'd say, no, I want a coffee and a cigarette. Hang in there. Let me have a coffee.
Oh, yeah, but then you would have enough time.
I'd have enough time for a coffee and a cigarette. But I'm saying, if something is invented, is it inventable? Irreventable, whatever the word is, it's going to happen. I mean, I know we don't really die, but let's just stay with the narrative, physical death, The physical body transitions. It's going to happen, and you're never, ever, ever going to stop it happening. Ta-da! There's a wake-up call. So whether you die of a disease, or some big-ass planet X comes in and kicks us, well, at least it's quick. But they're going, oh my God. I go, why? What do you? So it's all about fear. It's always going to be. It's always about fear. And this is where I would like the conversation to go. But before I get there, I've told Rita, because I'm drinking copious amount of water, I need to go to the bathroom. So Rita, I want you to talk to the audience until I return, because I'm not stopping this show because there's lots to talk about.
All right. Well, then I will talk about the impact of fear on us and our connection to source.
Yes, please. Off you go, Rita.
Thank you. Well, okay. So now we can talk about Gloria really bad. And then she's going to listen to this video and go, oh my God, I can't believe she just did that. No. So, I think this has been a really interesting conversation because, we're talking about that connection to yourself and connection to source that brings you that sense of inner peace, or that sense of wholeness or happiness or calmness and tranquility. Well, you can't have wholeness and happiness and calmness and tranquility if you're in a state of fear. If you are not grounded, if you are listening to all of the stuff that's going on. I mean, there could be stuff going on in your personal life. You know, you have someone that's sick, or there might be a threat to your job, or, you know, financial insecurity that's going on that can make you feel fearful. But even if that's going on, just breathing and just trying to connect back with yourself is going to, you know, from a very technical point of view, open up that first chakra and allow you to connect to source, you know, because, all right, I'm going to get very technical. You know, there is a stream of energy that comes in from the universe in through the top of our head, all the way through our bodies, out through the base of our spine, into the earth, and then comes back, you know, and kind of like the waves of an ocean, they flow in us and out of us. But when we're in fear, it gets trapped in the body. It's not able to go into the earth and ground like the grounding cord of an electrical unit, you know, and it makes it so that your brain just goes crazy. There's no place for it to dissipate. Kind of like you walk on the carpet and then you touch somebody and they get a shock of static electricity. It's like you just took all of that energy that you've had and you dissipated it by touching something electrical or touching somebody else. And so when you ground, or when you breathe, and when you find that quiet place inside, you have the opportunity to dissipate all of that crazy making going on inside, which our government is experts at creating.
I mean, yeah, PhD experts in it. But, you know, thank you for that. But again, it's all, you know, all of this is to bring about fear. It worked for a while. It doesn't work anymore. That's globally. It doesn't work no more. And everyone went into that space, to that 0 point. Yeah. And it's because of that. Could be. I'm speculating here. I don't know. I don't know anything. I don't chat shit. That why would be out there in that timeline, whatever you want to call it, it's one thing after another. Go look at that. Oh, here's another fear. Go this fear. Didn't they try some monkeypoxy or something or whatever?
Yeah, I heard on the news, you know, so I'll put the radio on in my car, that there's been 15 cases in the United States. I'm like, I got jokes about that.
I mean, it's getting a bit desperate at the moment. So
but you know, but there have been too many really funny memes about monkeypox that I don't think it'll really stick.
Yeah.
You know, but I think when people are in fear for a really long time, you know, they get to the place where it's like they just don't care anymore.
No.
You know, and now I like to say this is a Janis Joplin song, but I was told it was written by Chris Christopherson, so whatever. But I only ever hear Janis Joplin in my head. You know, and the line is, freedom's just another word for nothing else to lose. And you put people in so much fear that it's like, you know what? Come on. I don't care anymore. You just like lay it on me, and I am going to walk with my head high, and you're not going to affect me. But when you're in that emotional vibration, you are in that 0 point. You're in that neutral place.
Yeah. And that's where freedom is. I mean, I'm in total agreement with you. People said, I've had enough. You do get a point when you live in fear that in the end, you go, fuck it. Bring it on. I really don't care. I'm getting on with my life. And you're gone. You know, and then you also find, because what fear does, it brings condemnation. It brings resistance. It brings judgment of others. Yeah. Which is not a way to go. That's manufactured emotion. You know, but when you go into that space, your space, the 0 point, when you get to that point where nothing, if it doesn't matter about that, then I don't care what my neighbour's doing, long as they don't inflict it upon me. I don't care if you know, go and have 4 wives, 6 husbands. I really don't care. It's none of my business. And your opinion, you know what? Keep your opinion. It's none of my business as well. Because the bigger and greater ones before you have tried, you know, doing the gaslighting, and I woke up. So you don't, but the positiveness and the benefit of going in is what you project back out. You were correct. What you projected out before was fear-based energy. But when you go in, it's love. It's silence. It's even just space. So someone comes to you and you don't attach yourself to their drama. You don't do it because you're in this space. It can't. So does that resonate with you at all, Rita?
You know, but when we're in fear, you know, I was talking just a second ago about we don't have an opportunity to discharge. And so when we can't discharge, we end up getting trapped in cycles of worry and cycles of rumination, where it's like you think about something that's happened, you know, like you have a fight with your boss and, you know, you spend the next week going, God, I should have said this and maybe I should have done that. And, you know, and so when you're in fear, it's like you get stuck in that place. It's like, well, what about this? Well, what about this? Well, blah, 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 blah. And you can't relax. No. And it actually makes it so that you're much easier to control mentally and emotionally, because when people are in fear, what they really want, you know, deep down underneath everything is to feel good. They just want to feel safe. And so if you say, here, drink this Kool-Aid, it's going to make you feel safe. And if you're scared enough, you're going to drink that Kool-Aid.
Yeah, if you're scared enough. I mean, that leads to, I'm going to bring this up, is like all that's happened to us the last couple of years. At the beginning, there was a lot of resistance. Like in the UK, you could not get access to a doctor. You couldn't. And around the world, you could not get access unless you went and did something. That was first. But it was a blessing, because what humanity realized is because they had no access to the pharmaceutical companies, they had to go more homeopathic, self-healing. It's always run to the doctor. Do you see what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. And also the last couple of years, people started to realize, well, you know, and they weren't going out. So there's watching alternative media and healing about healing, intuitive healing like yourself, other forms of, you know, healing. And they had no choice, because you couldn't get to a fucking doctor to save your life, to start looking at. They wouldn't have done that without the lockdown. They wouldn't have gone in and started to look for, you know, each one of us, we've got this innate thing to keep alive, and that's what we're supposed to have. So when all services are cut off, you're going to search somewhere else. And people started getting, how many people went into Reiki, into sound healing, into all of that? Can you see where I'm going with this? See the benefit of what they thought they were doing just backfired. And I must say, I knew from the beginning it would backfire. You'd push and push so much they could, I'm not doing it no more. But now we've got all these healers out there and all these mediums out there, Rita. Yay!
Well, you know, and we didn't have that so much in the United States, but there really has been a turn on for, I'm going to say, alternative medicine. You know, people going now, which I find as a shocker, it's like, well, you know, I take vitamin D and I take vitamin C, you know, and I do this and I do this every day. And it's like, wow. Yeah. I mean, you still eat like crap, but you know,
but you can't do, you know,
which is, you know, a step.
You know, you can't do everyone's on their own journey. I mean, I don't drink anymore. I keep saying I must have a drink sometime. I fancy a drink. You know, I miss the odd drink. You know, and I don't go clubbing anymore and big partying anymore. I don't do it because it doesn't resonate with me no more. Yeah, I still like to smoke and drink coffee. So tough, you know, it's my choice, as is everyone else's choice. If they still want to go and party, there's nothing wrong with partying. There's nothing wrong with drinking. It's your own individual freedom. Do what you choose to do. And if there are any consequences, then you chose them. No one else is to blame. But I tell you what, when someone else tells you what to eat, drink, sleep, fart, whatever it is, and you follow their belief system, there's a different matter, because you're experimenting, experiencing yourself. Well, that didn't work. You know, sometimes you can eat something and go, oh, that made me feel, so I'm not going to eat that again. You know?
But it would be one thing if you followed somebody's system and you ended up experiencing nirvana. You follow their protocol and you get well. That's great. But it doesn't those things don't necessarily work for everyone.
No,
and
one brush doesn't no, one brush
and the ones that usually doesn't work for, or the ones that don't really, I'm going to say buy into it, because it doesn't resonate with them. And so it's like they can't embrace it, like energetically embrace it.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
Yeah. I mean, I think whatever you choose to do, you must choose to do it for yourself. It has to resonate with you. It has to, you personally. Everything is a personal choice. I do purport a lot in the groups, that I teach. You're all individual, and not one of your truths is wrong. It's your own truth. It's you, and no one can judge what you choose to do. And this is the sort of experience we are living in now. We're just touching on it, where judgments are starting to drop, and because they've gone in or through what happened, because it was really good what happened, because they've gone in, and individuals have gone, I'm sick of being judged and told what to do. Then as they project out that source energy, well, they're not going to tell another what to do. It's your personal choice. You choose what you choose to do. And that's how it flows. It's that flowing. And it's like what you do with your, with your healing. The energy coming out of you is not from a belief system. It's not from what, your FDA says you should do. It's not from what someone wrote down and said this is the right thing because they said it was. It's your energy, your intuitive from your source. And then someone comes along and I always say with healing, Rosie, who's in the audience, she's my own personal energy healer. And if I need a top up for pain relief, I go, Rosie, zap me, zap me, I'm not greedy. I needed to zap me because it's excruciating pain. And that's my choice. I don't take any pharmaceutical drugs, none. And I should be on them. I should be. And I haven't done it for years. And I've said, no, I know. But in the last couple of years, even myself, I've experienced, due to not be able to access a GP at all, they phone you up and say, we're going to give you an asthma check. And I go, on the phone? Can you hear my lungs? Can you hear me? It's ridiculous. So I more and more go to Rosie now, only when it's really bad. I don't want to drain her. And I say, Rosie, I need help. Others are doing this too. Others are coming to you. And not just for healing. I used to do counselling before, domestic violence counselling. That was my job, in criminology and all that. But I know people are coming to you with personal counselling problems. They're going to the alternative healers with not just for their spiritual vibrational awareness or chakras or unblocking, whatever you want to, but they're coming out with, well, I've got this problem, I've got this energy stuck and I've got this problem, I had when I was a kid. It's coming out to the healers now instead of going to the GP and being put on antidepressants, and dumbed down.
And there's also a whole issue talking about healthcare. There is no touch to it, and I don't mean physical touch, but there's no connection.
No.
You go to the doctor and there is no connection. You might as well just talk. You might as well just go on WebMD and look up what your symptoms are, because what you're going to get back, is about the same. And I think that's also one of the other things people are really looking for is connection, and the person on the other end to hear them. Yes. And the person on the other end to validate them, whether it's like, you're really sick or not, but, but there's that lack of personal connection that I think people are just really wanting, they're missing.
Yeah. I'm in agreement. But because that happened, again, it's a positive, because, it's even myself. I've gone more to Rosie. Well, not as much, but I just, sometimes, because she's so fucking, I call her a witch, actually. She just knows what's going on. She's in, apparently another medium says, I've seen her in your aura. She's fucking gate crashing my fucking aura, she is. And she normally knows, and she'll say, did you have this the other day? I sent you double. I said, oh, yeah. And, but more of us are doing that. We're going to alternative counseling, alternative healing, because you're correct. We're getting a personal interaction. We're getting compassion. Not like mollycoddly now, hypochondria, but we're getting compassion. We're getting someone listens. They're listening. They're listening to us. And that is a part of the human experience, to listen to another and allow them to share what's going on. So the healers like yourself and Rosie have a great awareness of what's actually going on. And most of the time I found when someone comes to me and says, this is causing me a problem, after I've worked with them, it's nothing to do with that, it's to do with that. And they go, I never thought of that. Boom. Do you find that?
All the time.
Yeah.
And people make up in their mind, because they do go on WebMD, or whatever, and they look stuff up and they're determined, that they have leukemia, or that they have, like some kind of brain aneurysm, or I don't know.
Google.
And then I laugh at them really hard and go, you have a sore throat.
Yeah.
So you get these lozenge things, but they just need, people don't really understand the value of that kind of connection. It's like going to a place that has terrible customer service. You're going to go and spend your money there, and you want somebody to help you, and they don't really want to answer the phone, and they're mean to you on the phone. It's like, it is not a satisfying experience. And if you're not feeling good, it's not a satisfying experience. And sometimes really all you need is to relax and know that there's someone there that has your back.
Exactly. I mean, all the things when we started the show tonight, all the things we put out there, what's going on, because we need to be aware. We're not to be complacent. You just need to be aware, not fear. But all of the things that have gone on, to me, it's been a blessing from source that has pushed us. And I went all through it going, we've done it. And they go, no, because we've done it. It's over. We've done it. You wait and say, we've done it. And I'm seeing the fruits of what humanity's done now by healing themselves, going to natural healers, or the likes of witches like Rosie. I mean, she's a medium, but I call her a witch. Witches back in the day, what did they do? They healed. Medium witches, they healed. They knew they could heal, and they healed. And also, we spent, eons now going external to being told what to do and what to follow, what to believe. And the last few years has reverted that back in. And people are going, I have a choice. Or they've been pushed so much in fear. I've had enough. Bring it on. Don't care if I die. Really? Boom. I'm out of it. And so the benefits of what's happened, and when you look at it in the whole picture like that, then there's a greater understanding. Oh, why are they still trying to fire this stuff off at us?
Well, and then there's the third one. It's the people that give up their power and walk around powerless, looking for someone out there to save them.
Yes, that's another one. And I know
it's getting smaller and smaller and smaller, because I think people are realizing there's not anyone out there to save them.
No one is coming to save you. I remember it's been going on I'm quite mature in my age. So I remember ages ago, I heard about this Galactic Federation or something coming to save us. And I thought, whatever, And then when lockdown come, They tried to recruit me. No. They were going in 10 days time, they're coming, and that got destroyed as well. That illusion got destroyed as well, because people started to really wake up and go, no one can save me but myself. That's
All right, so I have to share a story with you that'll make you laugh.
Do it.
So, and it was during the 80s, and so Barbara Hand Clow had came out with the Palladian Agenda, which I really enjoyed. Very fourth chakra, heart-centered book. And then Neil Sheldon, I don't know, the other one are We Are Becoming Galactic Humans, and it talked about the Syrians. And the Syrians were going to come down, and there was going to be 3 days of darkness on the earth, and they were going to like take over. I only made it halfway through the book because it scared the crap out of me. And all right, so I'm assuming I dreamed, but I don't remember my dreams. And I started having nightmares about the Syrians coming and taking over the earth. And I'm here in a ship, and my dog is over there, and I can't get to my dog. I mean, these were freaking nightmares. So one day I was getting ready for the Whole Life Expo, which was going to be in the Seattle area. And I'm putting my makeup on, and the stereo turns off. And I just stood in the bathroom, frozen, just because it was during that period. Oh, in 10 days time, And then I'm like, oh my God, it's happening. And then I looked around, all the lights were on. And I was like, oh, okay. But it scared the crap out of me.
Yeah. It's just been that was just another distraction. And that was to push human beings playing the role. It was to push them to see, do you still want a savior? Do you still have this belief of a savior? It all comes from religion, the savior one. And, that cracked open a lot of people, because they were going through, in their lockdown, really traumatic experiences. Nothing more traumatic. Well, my kids are grown up, thank God for that. But nothing more traumatic than being locked up for a couple of years with your bloody kids in the house. You can't even get rid of them to go to school. That's trauma, yeah? And
my sister has special needs kids.
That must be so hard.
And one is like, if you tied him to a chair, and duct taped his mouth, which don't do at home, but I'm sure that went through her mind, because this kid just does not sit up and does not sit down. And he's a sweet kid, but not 24 hours a day.
Exactly. So, all these, especially parents, and then if you do go on, go social media, because you want to talk to somebody, you're locked up in prison, and they go, we're coming, we love you, we bring you joy, and you go, fuck off. You joy, come and help me in the house if you're that. And people, I'm not joking, people started to wake up there. Nothing is coming to save you, because people were in such, at the beginning of it, shock, trauma, that they never saw it coming. Many did, but the majority didn't. And when these love and lighters were going on about all this, they were just like, you can just, honest, fuck off. I'm not interested. If, how many days? And then all you've got to do is miss the date they come in. Oh, we had a bit of a issue. They were coming. So people went through that as well. Also, they were stopped going to their religions. Yeah. And I understand if I remember meeting an old guy in a chair, and he used to get the train out the village to the town, and I'd see him a lot. And we was waiting for the train to go to the town, and I said, "What's the matter?" He said, "I miss my church," and I'd go there, and he was going on. And I felt so sorry for him, because he was about 80, and it was been his life, bless him. And he said, they won't let us in the church, and and he was going on, and I said, but you don't have to go to church. He said, what? I said, God's in your heart. I'm not religious, all right? And he looked at me. I said, God's with you wherever you are, whether you go in the church or whether you're at home or sitting here talking. I said it's something like that. He cried. Thank you so much. I never looked at it that way. He had never perceived that. And he was a happy man ever since. So a lot of structures within the religious areas have broken down as well. Yes, they have. That you can have source in you.
There are some people that, you know, the only time they give themselves permission to connect with source is at church.
Exactly.
You know, they don't think, well, I can do this in my kitchen while I'm making dinner.
It's not and when you think it's not in their mind to do that.
You know, and so having that taken away from them kind of puts them into, well, how can I have that? Wait, I'll open my Bible and read some chapters, or I'll listen to some, you know, music or whatever to create that within myself by myself.
But it's going within again. It's always so, you know, the last few years have always been about going within. So, I mean, the reason that me and Rita are talking about this tonight is because of recent events. It's like a machine gun of events that are, it's illogical events. Illogical. As illogical, my analogy. It's as illogical as if I asked you, what is the sex of a tuna sandwich? It's like, duh, illogical. And these events that individually should be major breaking worldwide news are not, but they're all coming one after the other at the same time within 5 days. We'll say 5 days, which makes, and the last one with this guy's video, he's so prominent in your country. I thought, oh, here we go. It could possibly be a false flag invasion. I need to put out there now, I do not believe in this. It's not my truth. If ET, as you call them, wish to annihilate humanity, they would have done it eons ago when we were nuking other humans.
Well, I don't think they would send us a memo either.
Yeah, no, exactly.
No, you know, it'd be like, bye.
You know, it's obvious, isn't it? It's obvious, you know, because you and if you want some, you know, just use some discernment. Yeah, back in the day, humanity we experienced being the most barbaric, inhumane, dehumanizing, especially the Middle Ages, the Dark Ages, and the Empire Ages of the UK, slavery, and all the things around the world. We were diabolical to animals, to humans, to children, to everything. And humanity has evolved, and we are letting go of all that. We don't do that this way no more. We're all like coming towards unity consciousness where we don't do it. So why the hell would they wanna? Do you know what I mean? And also, sweetie pies, we're not on our own here on this earth. We're in a solar system. We're in a universe, and what goes on here affects out there, if that makes sense to everybody. So on that note, going into that space here, I'm going to ask you, Dr. Rita. Notice I called you Dr. Rita there. We go into this space there, making the space a 0 point, which obviously ripples out and more we're doing it. How do you think that's going to work with the spirit world, ET, and other celestial beings?
Well, I mean, you know, the world is filled with non-corporeal beings that are vibrational entities. And so the way that they communicate with us, the way that we communicate with them is through vibration. And so if we are filled with a vibration of love and gratitude and centeredness and minimally neutrality, you know, then we're sending them that message. And I think they would be more open and willing to interact with us. I mean, no, I'm going to say it differently. I think they're always willing to interact with us, but we're more open to receiving anything that they have to offer
Yes, yes. I love it. I love that. I'm in agreement with that. That resonates with me. What I would love you to just please do a quick talk upon is, you mentioned it a few times earlier on, but go into detail for anyone who's watching live or will in a replay. You know, like you said, when we live in that fear, we have no way of getting that energy out of us. Yeah. Could you give some inspirational or techniques or anything for anyone who's watching live or will do on a replay? Okay, I've got this fear. What can I do with it? How can I find an exit for it? And, you know, use that energy for the greater good of my higher self or humanity or anything at all, please.
I mean, there are a number of things that you probably already do, but never thought, like, oh, I'm afraid, I should try doing this. You know, because usually when we're afraid, it's like, oh my God, I'm afraid. Oh my God, I'm afraid. I don't really feel any good. You know, so I think that's the biggest challenge, is going, oh, I'm afraid, maybe I should do this.
Yes.
You know, and things are so simple, you know, closing your eyes and taking some just nice deep breaths, you know, in through the nose and out through the mouth. I mean, that is the simplest. You know, if that doesn't work, go to the gym and work out. Go rake the leaves in the yard. You know, when my kids were young and I would get very angry, I had a very clean house, because I would go clean bathtubs and wash dishes and scrape the little things of grease off the stove. And you know what I mean? And when I was done, I felt great. You know, put some music on and dance. Listen, you know, read an inspirational book. There's so much material on YouTube that all you have to do is, you know, a quick search, and you can find someone who has inspiring words or some relaxing music that might help you move past that.
Yes. You know? I mean, they're good practical techniques. As to the, you know, OCD, that was me. I had 6 children, by the way, and in my marriage, and my house was spotless. I'm telling you, it's the clean. Skirting boards, daily routine. You know, it was just under the Hoover under the sofa, and it was a way of letting it go or kill the kids, basically, when you got 6 of them running around. That they're really good pointers where people can follow that, and I do resonate with all of that. It does work. Could you just touch upon, for anyone in the audience, you mentioned earlier on about, you know, the chakras, like this energy of fear we've all gone through the last couple of years, can hide. We say, I've got no fear, you know, I work, you know, I don't. But, you know, any techniques to work on the energy points in the body? You were talking about grounding and back to earth. Could you just give a little bit on that, please, Dr. Rita?
Sure. That one's a little more complicated to just kind of go, here's the thing. You know, and all of the things that I suggested, you know, going out and raking leaves, or, you know, will make the body naturally ground, and it will make it naturally relax. You know, go get a massage, go in nature, you know, hug a tree, hug your kids.
Hug it, if
if you're liking them that day.
Yeah, if you like them that day, hug your kids. What I did a couple of months ago, I was saying in the group, you know, if you're near a beach, go to the sand, touch the sand, flow the sand through your hands, or go to the mud, the earth, play with the mud, put your hands in the earth, touch the earth. That's another grounding thing. You know,
taking a hot bath, you know, and like an Epsom salt bath.
Epsom salts is one of the
best. From a different perspective, it's like we can only have one thing in our mind at a time. So if we're in fear, we're thinking fearful things. Fear. Yeah. And so if you can replace the fearful thoughts with something else, you know, it is really helpful, because then if you're thinking about that shiny squirrel over there and, oh my God, look at that bead job it has, and wow, it climbed up that tree really well. Well, now you're not thinking about the fear anymore. You're thinking about the squirrel. You know, and so even if you just substitute the thought or go, wow, I'm thinking about fearful things, I need to stop.
They catch it. I always say catch it when it comes up. Catch it when it comes up. Another thing I would say is, please do not be fearful of the future that hasn't even happened. because by the time it does happen, you'll be fearing the future. Stay in the now. Stay what you're in now. And I've always said it many times, turn all the TVs off, throw away the newspapers. And if you want to watch something, you can even go and video your whole family life. Put your attention on you, all on you.
Exactly.
And look at what you're doing. How's it affecting your consciousness? How's it affecting your mindset? Do you feel good? Do you feel happy? Be brave, be spontaneous, try something. And we have a lovely lady in our group, Christine, who doesn't get out very much. She does when her family take over. She's sort of in a confined flat sort of thing. She is the most beautiful being, who has beautiful experiences, because she was willing to try anything, even being in her flat. If you can't get outside through a disability or something like that, there is so much you can do, and to change the whole experience of being you. And I recommend for anyone, just make a choice. I choose not to do that, or I choose to do that.
Exactly.
It's all about choice. Rita, we've just chatted and chatted. I could just chat to you forever. You're going to come back. You're coming back for part 3 in the future. We're going to do another
Well, yeah, I figured.
You figure, Or the Americans say, go figure.
I just wasn't going to push it like the last time because you gave me such a bad time about it.
Yeah. No, you push it. We're going for part 3 on this one. Before we close, you're an intuitive healer and all the rest of it. Could you share a brief analogy, a synopsis of what an intuitive healer is, if you're able to? So people say, well, what does it mean, an intuitive healer? What does it mean?
So, okay, all right. Well, I have to sit here and go and think about it. So when people go to the doctor, they do things like they do blood tests, or they give you a CAT scan or an MRI or an X-ray. And, they use all this very functional testing to identify what's going on. And an intuitive healer, a medical intuitive, just uses their intuition. And so when I work with clients, I am very intuitively visual. I'm clairvoyant. And so if there's an inflammation going on in your lung, or if there's an issue going on in a chakra, it's like I'm able to see them and then probe into them to identify why it's there, where it came from, and what you can do about it. And many times it also, for me, this is how I do it, it includes, what the emotional piece that's tied to it, because usually when we get sick, there is something within our system that is in resistance. And the only way to really get rid of it is to address what's going on deep inside.
Yeah, I agree. That beautiful. Now, all the links to contact Dr. Rita Louise are in the show bit and down below. I can say that on YouTube. I want to do it down below. You can get hold of Rita if you're interested more, and all the information, and her books are out there. Oh, your books on Amazon?
All of them.
All of them. And we're not talking about it tonight. You look beautiful, darling. Don't worry about it. You look really beautiful. You look lovely. Leave your hair alone.
All right.
And we did.
If I see myself on screen, I'd be like,
You've just noticed yourself on screen. We've been chatting for an hour and a half.
That's because you have had me intrigued the entire time.
We've just been having a great conversation. We're not going to talk about the book she's just started to write. We're not going to talk about it, but we will do maybe on part 3. Rita's working on a new book, and it's all hush hush, top secret. It's going to be mind blowing, but we'll have all that, and it will be obviously for me. You're a benefit to humanity, Rita.
Thank you.
You're a joy. You're a comfort to talk to. You're funny. You're as mad as I am, and I like that. It's like chatting in a mirror, and you're open enough to have such a conversation as we've had tonight, without bigotry or biasness. And that's what it's about, being open-minded, non-judgmental. No one has the answers to what's about to happen in this experience. No one. No one knows the truth, because it's all potentiality and it's all in flux of creation. We just have to let it flow. I'll give my version. There's a tornado around you. There's silent point in the middle, still point, point zero. Stay there. Let the shit hit the fan. You stay inside, connected to source, and you will get through whatever comes.
Mm-hmm.
And for you, how do you word that in your way?
So my way is, when I can find that place of inner peace, it's like I can radiate out that feeling of calm and that feeling of peace and that feeling of neutrality, I guess would be the word, and that almost acts like, and I'm going to use this because it came into my head, it acts like the armor of God. And it protects you from all of that crap, and they can sit there and throw shit at you all day, and then the only thing it can do is just melt down off that armor of God.
Yeah, I love that. I love that, armor of God. And it's true, it's being neutral. You have no judgment. Mm-hmm. There is no judgment. And if there's no judgment, there's no emotional response. And the mind doesn't have an opportunity to come in and create a new story. Oh my God, if this happens, that happens. And vroom, off you go on another experience. And you will experience that.
Well, and it also makes it so that you kind of can take a step back and look at what's going on and go, well, that's kind of interesting. Well, okay, so this happened and this happened. So, and it gives you a really, if you're in fear or wound up in the whole thing, it's like you're in the middle of it and your face is in the tornado. Versus if you're in this other place, it's like, oh, there goes a tornado.
Yeah, look, oh shit, there, look, Georgia Stones, oh, Eve resigned, oh, look at that, oh, there's a war. And you're just going, wow, look at, you are and you will be the observer of the experience. And you've caught yourself, you're not attaching yourself. Whether
you're not in the middle of it.
You're just observing in a neutral space what is, and that's how it should be. There's no trauma.
But they don't teach you that. And actually, without divulging too much, that's what the new book is going to be about. Seriously.
And you know what? I must be quite psychic, actually. I better switch off. Ding dong.
Yeah.
Get out of there. I'll be revealing her book in a minute. Just like ding ding. I'll be saying something in a nondescript way, and she'll be going, stop that. No, but seriously, it is where we all need to be now. Enjoy your experience of being you, whoever you are. And there is healing out there. Go and do your research if you're unable to access any medical professional. If you're seriously ill, phone 999. There's no option there. Okay. If you have a serious complaint, you need 999 in the UK. I don't know what you do out there. Is it 911 out there or something?
911.
Yeah. Obviously, if you have a serious complaint, you need to go, emergency, you need to go. But, there are many things you can do. I found over being alive for about 200 years now, it feels like, some things I didn't realize that I was eating was doing me more harm than good. And, it was just an addiction. And my diet has changed, and it keeps changing constantly as I change. And that's good. Your diet changes as you change. Yeah, and so, I don't eat that no more. And I started to eat that now. And there is no good or bad. What you eat, how it affects your body. And if it affects your body, I don't care if you want to eat meat all week and you're healthy as hell and you're in that source, that's okay for your body. For someone else, it might not be. There's no right or wrong on eating habits. There's no right or wrong. But you can do that yourself. I'm lactose intolerant. I found that out eventually. So I can't have anything with lactose in. It took a while to find that out while I was ill all the time. And I did it myself, not a doctor. I saw someone talking about it. I went, let me try that. And I went and bought it more expensive. Way back it was. Bought everything lactose free. And in them days it was expensive. My God, within hours, I was a different person. I went, I don't need a doctor. I find what works for me. So, anything else you want to add to out there for the self-healing?
Um, I mean, I think that that's really great advice to, listen to your body
Yeah.
and, listen to what it says.
Yeah.
But then there's also listen to your body, because a lot of the times, you'll go to the refrigerator and you want to get something to drink. And inside it's saying, oh, well, I should just have a glass of water. But then you reach and you grab that glass of wine. And so
I don't
there's
have
also,
wine. I don't have wine.
but I'm not talking about you. I'm talking hypothetically
Yeah.
about the listeners, and so there are many times that we do get the message and we don't pay attention to it.
Yeah.
We don't listen to it.
Yeah.
And,
That's a good one, actually. Yeah.
and then sometimes it is an addiction, sugar in all of its forms, whether it's a carbohydrate or, just straight candy kind of sugar. Your body will crave it, and it's not craving it because it wants it. It's craving it because you've gotten used to it. And, acknowledging that sometimes there are things going on that are addictive that you need to address.
I mean, for me, I just have my black coffee, and there's my addiction: water. Water, 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 water. It's just, I love it. It's tasteless, but it doesn't matter. I love it. My addiction is water. Hence why I'm always in the loo, especially in the UK's heat wave. It's not a heat wave for you Americans in Texas.
Having a heat wave.
Oh, you're going to sing it.
Oh, heat wave.
Oh, I'm telling you, it's like, when it comes, because we've been having quite a few of the last decade, I must admit. And we're not used to having it for long periods of time. I said, I've traveled extensively abroad way back. So, and, going to countries like 40 degrees, whatever you call it, and 2 or 3 days to customize to it. And I knew what to do. And what you do is you make sure you've got water in you, and try not to, reserve your energy if you can, as much as you can. In other words, get your kids to clean up after you, because if that would be possible. Rita, it's so lovely to talk with you. You just make me so happy just chatting with you. You're such a beautiful soul. Thank you for what you're doing for humanity.
Oh, you and listeners are all so welcome. I just love spending time with you. I always leave, just feeling like, I'm going to say it this way, whether they got anything from what we actually verbally said, it's like, I feel like when we're talking together, it's like we raise each other's vibration.
Oh, hell yeah. Yes.
And then they get to be in the space with our raised vibration. Yes. And so minimally, I hope that they experience having a higher vibration just being with us.
Oh, that is beautiful. And I second that one. And on that note, I'm Gloria. This is Open Minds live chat show. Until the next time. Bye for now. Bye, guys.